Secrets of Happy People, Episode 23, Gratitude, the Default Attitude. I had gone visiting my favorite uncle, a joyous and ebullient old man. Although he is old, he somehow does not strike me as old. I only think of him as old because I know he's older than my dad, who was his junior at school. Uncle Tom was jovial, playful, almost like a child. He was also very humble. You would never tell by merely interacting with him that he was a man of great influence and means. He was always busy, but never seemed busy. He had a smile or something sweet to say to all around him. I loved to be around him. On this day, I was in the neighborhood of his office and just decided to pay him a visit. His secretary informed me that he was having a teleconference, but that I could stay in his office while he held his meeting. Upon sighting me, he motioned me to the sofa while he engaged in his conversation with his team. Apparently, they were reporting on safety and security incidents that occurred in the various branches. I found myself a reading material, but I was clearly following their discussion. Uncle T was a patient listener who hardly interrupted as each gave his own report. In one particular narration, the speaker spoke about a robbery incident just in front of the house of one of the staff. The staff was accosted by armed robbers who ransacked his car, cutting away all the valuables in there, including his computer, phone, money, and all. As the man spoke, I read total empathy and concern on the face of my uncle. His usual smile had given way to a scowl. Now there was a look of pain in his eyes. He almost felt that he was going to cry. When he had finished, Uncle T asked him if the victim was beaten by the robbers. He replied that they slapped him several times. Uncle T paused for a relatively long silence and then inquired whether he was taken to the hospital and treated. And the narrator answered in the affirmative. He asked whether they took his car, and yes was the answer. Uncle paused again for an even longer silence. Then, like the sun suddenly breaking through a cloud, he flashed a surprising smile, heaved a sigh of relief and said, "Thank God they spared his life. I am grateful to God that he was not killed." So cheer up, everybody. Don't look so sullen. We have just been highly favored by the Almighty. Many people have lost their lives in less encounters with these robbers. But our colleague Sonny is alive. Cheer up, everybody. This calls for a celebration. It calls for thanksgiving. Then he added, almost with a hint of humor, when you go to church or wherever you worship this weekend, do not forget to specially thank God for sparing the life of our colleague and friend. And with a faraway look in his eyes, gazing into space, he added, but almost whispering, as if talking to himself, God be praised. Although I was not part of the meeting, I was touched by the feelings emanating from this old man. I was particularly struck by his unexpected switch from a somber mood of pain to that of elation and gratitude to God. I was later to learn from his secretary that was his default mood. She said no matter what happens, good or bad, he always lands on the side of gratitude and thanksgiving to God. Then it dawned on me that Uncle Tom was my practical example of what I have often read in spiritual books, that happy people remain grateful people, be times good or bad.